That quote really just gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? One little buzz, one single notification. It becomes this tiny crack in our concentration. And the thing is, it's a crack that just gets wider every single time it happens. Hello to all viewers of my channel and welcome. And if you need any proof of just how deep this problem goes, here it is. 47 seconds. Yeah, you heard that right. According to recent studies, that is our average attention span on a single screen. Now get this, back in 2004, it was 2.5 minutes. That is a massive drop, and it tells you everything you need to know about how much our ability to just concentrate has been rewired. So in this explainer, we are going to tackle this thing head on. We're going to dig into why our focus feels so completely broken, and more importantly, we're going to lay out a really clear, actionable guide to getting it back. So let's start by just understanding the problem we are all facing. Okay. Our journey begins by just acknowledging a feeling we all share, that sense of being constantly pulled in a million directions by digital noise. And it's so important to remember this isn't some personal failing on your part. It's a universal struggle. We're all in this together. I bet this scenario sounds painfully familiar. You're in a really important meeting, you're trying to be engaged, and then your phone buzzes. It's not some critical message, nope, just an ad. But that automatic reflex just kicks right in. You glance down, and poof, just like that, the thread of the conversation is gone. That, my friends, is the power of the phantom buzz. And this kind of thing, it's happening all day long. The average person checks their phone something like 65 times a day. And for a lot of us, knowledge workers, that number is way, way higher. Every single check, every scroll, every little switch between apps is a small hit to our focus, yanking us in a dozen different directions at once. But why is it so darn hard to resist? Why does a simple, meaningless notification have so much power over us? Well, to answer that, we've got to look at the science, at what's actually happening inside our brains. Now, here's what's so fascinating. This isn't about laziness or a lack of willpower at all. It's about biology. See, our brains are hardwired to seek out rewards, and dopamine is the chemical that drives that entire seeking process. Every little notification, every like, is a potential reward, and that creates this powerful, almost addictive loop that trains us to constantly be on the hunt for these tiny hits of satisfaction. Here's a really powerful way to think about the cost of all this. Just imagine your brain is like a battery. It starts every single day with a finite amount of energy, right? And every task, every decision you make, and this is the big one, every interruption, uses up some of that precious charge. And not all work drains that battery the same way. When you're in a state of deep focus, really in the zone, the energy drain is slow and steady. But when you're constantly context switching, jumping from an email to a spreadsheet to a chat message back to the email, it's like a massive power surge that just drains your mental battery incredibly fast. And the cost isn't just about energy, it's also about time. Research from the University of California, Irvine found that it takes, on average, a full 25 minutes to get back into a state of deep focus after just one single interruption. Think about that. Now connect it back to our 47-second attention span. If we're getting pulled away every minute or so, we're basically creating dozens of these 25-minute recovery gaps every single day. We're spending our days just trying to recover our focus, not actually using it. Okay, so we've laid out the problem, we've looked at the science. It's a little bleak, I know. But now let's shift gears and talk about the solution. And this isn't just about a few tips and tricks. It really starts with a whole new way of thinking about how we interact with technology. These 5 principles of digital minimalism can basically be your compass. It's all about being intentional. So, first, instead of just automatically reacting to a buzz, you create a conscious pause. Second, you actively protect that mental battery from things that don't matter. Third, and this is huge, you decide when your devices serve you, not the other way around. Fourth, you get ruthless about curating your digital space, because less really is more. And finally, you create clear boundaries between your digital work life and your personal life. The goal here is to go from being a passive consumer to an active architect of your own digital world. All right, with those principles as our guide, we can now build a super practical toolkit. These are proven techniques that will help you put that whole philosophy into action every single day. First up is the Eisenhower matrix. Now, this simple grid is unbelievably powerful for cutting through all the noise. It forces you to figure out what's urgent, the things screaming for your attention right now, and what's actually important. Our brains love that little dopamine hit from clearing urgent but unimportant tasks, but our most meaningful work, the deep stuff, that lives in the schedule box. This matrix helps you protect your time for that.
Next, we have the Pomodoro technique. The genius of this is its simplicity. It works because it basically makes a deal with your easily distracted brain. You're not committing to 3 hours of grueling work, you're just asking for 25 minutes of pure, uninterrupted focus. That's it. And in exchange, you get a break. This short, structured sprint makes it so much easier to get started and helps you build up that concentration muscle over time.
And this all builds into a bigger strategy when we look at the myth of multitasking versus the power of time blocking. The numbers don't lie. When we try to juggle multiple things at once, our productivity can actually plummet to around 60% because of all that context switching. But when we block out specific times for single tasks, that number can soar up to 80%. You not only get more done, but the work itself is just better. So what really happens when you start applying these principles and tools? Well, the payoff isn't just about checking more items off your to-do list. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with your work, with your technology, and honestly, with yourself. This quote from someone who tried a dopamine diet, which is just a form of digital minimalism, really captures the personal side of it. When all that external noise finally quiets down, you can actually hear your own thoughts again. You start to understand what you truly want and need, and that leads to this amazing sense of inner harmony.
I love this sentiment too. It's so powerful because breaking a compulsive habit, like automatically checking your phone, isn't just about stopping a behavior. It's about regaining a sense of control over your own life. And that feeling, that victory over your own impulses, it's just deeply satisfying. And yep, there are hard numbers to back all of this up. Studies have shown that putting these kinds of structured techniques into practice can lead to a productivity increase of up to 40%. I mean, that is a massive gain. That translates to hours of saved time and a whole lot less stress. And this transformation, it can happen surprisingly fast. In just 1 month of applying these ideas, one person documented their deep focus time quadrupling from 30 minutes to 2 hours. And their mental battery, instead of being totally drained by the end of the day, was still holding a strong charge. It just goes to show you that real, tangible results are absolutely within reach. So, I'll leave you with this question. We've gone through the why, the how, and the what's in it for you. Now it's about taking action. Don't try to change everything at once. Just ask yourself, what is the one single distraction you can commit to eliminating, starting this week? I really hope this explainer has given you a clear roadmap for reclaiming your focus. Remember, the key is just to start small. Subscribe to the channel and also suggest your topics for future videos in the comments. Thanks for watching.